Hi, this is the last episode of City of Singles with your hosts Chelsea Beller, Andrew Landry, and this week we have a brand new guest on the show, Sydney Jenner. That's right, Sydney's here and she's here to talk about catfishing, gold digging, a religious sacrifice, and a sitcom celebrity? Let's tune in.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Same old.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I'm fine.
As fine as you can be.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you got there? Is that a little kitty cat or a puppy dog?
Oh, this is my cat, Steve.
Yeah. Steve. Oh my god, you little hairless creature. You're so cute.
This is Stevie.
Oh my god. Look at those ears. Oh my god.
It was my quarantine purchase.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Sydney was like, I'm looking over notes to make sure I remember everything. I'm like, we have no listeners. It's no pressure.
I literally typed out notes. I was so nervous.
Oh. This is so low key. Don't even worry about it.
It's just a conversation.
We're just hanging.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, anytime. I love to talk about myself.
Good.
Well, you're one of the very few non-comedians to do this, which I'm excited about. You're like one of the very few people that isn't insufferable.
You know,
yeah.
I wouldn't go as far to say I'm insufferable, but I will say my sole purpose is not here to attempt to turn it into a bad joke, you know?
Great.
Yeah. But you do have some of my favorite bad dating stories. And also, all the quarantine episodes we've done have been with comic friends that have already been on the podcast, so we kind of went through most of their funny dating stories. Mm-hmm. But luckily, you've never been on it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever run out.
You've been the subject of a past episode.
Yeah, I've never been on this podcast, but I've been talked about on this podcast.
Yeah. You want to briefly explain that for the one person listening?
Oh, yeah. Hey,
it's my
up?
mom.
Oh, mom. What's up, one listener? My name's Sydney.
Oh, yeah, guys, this is Sydney.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys have had a guest on here who I went on a date with, and I was not aware that he considered it his worst date ever. But being asked, when prompted what his worst date was, he told you it was the date that he went on with me, where my car got robbed and all my things had been taken, and you know, the norm.
Yeah.
When you get robbed on your first day in Los Angeles while you're on a date at some weird Hollywood bar with like a Tinder dude who then immediately ghosted you after the date.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it went great to me.
Yeah.
It was what was wrong with that date?
Like, I don't know.
What about?
Because I remember, so you had told me your side of that story, and then Grant told the story on the podcast, and I never put it together like, oh, they're telling the same story right now. I mean, different sides of it, but the same story. And then I remember I was out drinking with Grant and invited you, and you showed up, and you're like, oh, hey, Grant. Oh, the guy's name was Grant, for everyone listening who told the story. And you're like, oh, hey, Grant. And he's like, hey, Sydney. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And like trying to do the math. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
So my friend Ben went with, we like walked up and I like peeked in and I ran out because I saw Grant's side profile because like he ghosted me after that date, rightfully so. Like, I don't know who would want to follow up with a second date after I like collapsed on the ground and he like saw me have a panic attack and I cried.
Oh my God.
All my things had been stolen.
Right.
And I like ran back out and I was like, Ben, we can't go in. And Ben was like, no, I want to see Drew. Like, let's go. Like, I want to like, we're going to go get drunk. And I was like, no, I can't go in there. And like Ben drugged me in and it was like, hi. And like Drew stays in my like dating circle somehow. Like I feel like I'm always connected to Drew, but I feel like Drew's connected to everybody's dating circle.
He is.
Oh yeah, I just am.
Yeah.
Drew is the circle.
Yeah, I am everyone's dating circle.
Well, that's how Drew and I met, was a dating app.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I was gonna say. Well, and then what happened was we were gonna go on a date, but then you were going through, if I can say, like a bad breakup, and then you texted me. I don't know if we had a date planned yet, or I don't remember, but you're like,
I think I was supposed to go out with you that night. Like, I think I was standing you up day of.
yeah, and then you were like, I can't, I'm going through this bad breakup, and I'm like, do you want to talk about it? And you're like, sure, and you kind of just gave me the whole story through text, and we like talked about it. And then like a few days later, we like went on like a friend date where we just like hung out platonically, and then we just became friends.
Aww.
And I've never been able to get rid of him since.
Yeah, and now she's stuck with me.
Yeah, that's how it happens.
He's like, this sounds awfully familiar.
But so Sydney, you have a boyfriend right now, Eddie.
Yes.
Nice.
But I know that you've told me some of my favorite bad dating stories. And everyone thinks they have funny bad dating stories. Like, I remember when we started this podcast, I was like, hey, comedians, hit me up with bad dating stories. And then people would message me, like, you got to have beyond this happened. And it's something that's, like, only funny to them. Like, something that was mildly awkward. And it's like, you got to hear this. I'm like, this isn't interesting to anyone. But your stories are genuinely amazing.
I don't even know where to start.
Can I treat you like a bad dating jukebox and make a request?
Like private story on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah.
I was, hey guys, can you help me like remember all of the bad dates that I've been on? And I also put out a call to action on Twitter, and I was like, I'm aware that it makes me look really bad that I have been on so many bad online dates that like I am asking my Twitter followers to like freshen my memory. But, like people were sending me some, and I was like, oh yeah, I went on that. Like it completely slipped my mind that was like a thing that I did.
Common response to trauma.
So yeah, my intentions going into this date were never good to begin with. I saw that the guy was a TA for a science class that I had to take, and I was pushing off my science class because I was a film major, so I didn't want to take it. So I was like, TA, student, hey! Like, my intention was never good, so I think that was karma. The dude completely catfished me, used entirely different photos, and when he got out of the car, he was, like, shorter than R2-D2, and I was like, hi, like, insert name here, hi Bob, and instead of even saying like greeting me or anything, the first thing he says when he gets out of his blue Toyota Camry was, can you get my crutches from the trunk? And then the rest of the night proceeded, bought my dinner. I was shocked considering one, totally different photos. Like, it's not even like he used his, like, face.
It was like photos of a different person,
like,
right?
Photo of a different dude. Like, straight up a different man.
Can I ask a question?
Like Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
What were you, like, taken aback in the sense that you wanted to stop the date at any point? Or were you like, you know what? Let's see how it goes. Were you, like, open to it?
I was definitely taken aback because it very much, I like confirmed, well, like, okay, so backtrack. I like knew it was him, and like he knew it was me because he was like, I'm coming up, like I'm going to be in a blue Toyota Camry, like I'm pulling up, I'll be there in a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then like a couple minutes later pulls up, handicap spot, like, and I was like, that's interesting. Like wheels kind of started turning.
Right.
And then there he came out, and I definitely was like, oh, but I wanted to be like polite. I was like, he probably like lied for a reason. Like I'm sure if he was like, you know, I'm shorter than 3 foot, like this girl might not want to go out with, I don't know. So
Sure.
like I went on the date, but he like was not nice.
Oh God.
He had a short temper. I'm going to say that for 10 minutes.
Drew's like, I only invited her on this podcast because I wanted to use that pun.
Yeah, exactly. We can actually end the podcast now. Sydney, thanks for coming on.
And thanks for having me. It's been a big this short visit, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, and then he insisted that I had to go home and sleep with him because he paid for my dinner.
What a gentleman.
Oh my God.
He paid for my dinner, though.
What did you do? How did you react to that?
I told him, I was like, it was really nice to meet you. Like, I need to go. Like, straight up, like, had my friend Kara, like, call me and, like, fake a story to, like, get me out because he, like, was not understanding. Like,
yeah, no means no.
I made my friend, like, fake a breakup. And I was like, I gotta go save her.
I gotta go save her.
Save her.
How convenient that she was getting broken up with at the exact time our date was ending.
Yeah.
But he was just straight up like, you have to sleep with me because I paid for dinner.
Well, he was just like, but I bought your dinner. And I was like, but you lied to me. Like,
yeah.
Did you order off the kids menu?
My dad, I texted my parents. Like, I know that's a little weird, but like I went to the bathroom and like texted my mom and dad, like in a group message. Sidebar, my parents are also divorced, so like I put them in these like really uncomfortable group messages to tell them things they probably don't want to know, but they're forced to respond.
That sounds amazing.
Message.
Yeah.
And it's how I deal with my trauma from the divorce.
Of course.
And I was like, guys, I'm on a date. He's 2'9", and my dad was like, did he order from the kids menu? Within of me sending that text.
Oh my God.
A very dad joke.
Yeah, really came in, and I was like, oh, jeez. And then I'm pretty sure my mom asked if he needed a booster seat.
Right.
It covered all the bases.
Yeah, I have a list if you want me to go through. Or
yes,
is that, like,
please.
The ending, but the cow one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Do you not think that dead cow on balcony was not the first no line?
Wait, okay, I vaguely remember this story, but I need it to be retold.
Yeah, this was how I think I met you, Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to think. It was like...
where were we?
I think we're at Barney's, right?
Barney's, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how you guys met.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were talking about how you had a dating podcast, and I was like, well, let me tell you this. I got a story for your podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah, so right before I was moving to LA, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on a bender. I had just turned 21. I was like really excited to go to the bars, but like not a ton of my friends had been 21.
Right.
One of the first of my friends.
Yeah.
So I was using Tinder as a way to find people to go to the bars, and then I didn't have to buy my drinks, and it was a grand plan. And I went and I had too many drinks with this guy, and the whole time he was this really like uppity, like rich dude, and the whole time he's like talking to me and he's telling me about how he lives at this apartment complex in my college town that like has a view of the whole town, and that's like he lives in the penthouse, so it's like wall-to-wall window, and you can see the mountain and you can see all of downtown, and it's just gorgeous. And like I have to go to his apartment, so I have to see his balcony. And I am a gold digger, and I was drunk, and so I was like, yeah, let me come see your penthouse. Like,
yeah, let me see your balcony.
Exactly. And we go, and the balcony, like so we get there, and we're like riding up, like we're in the elevator. He's on like the 30, like whatever the top floor. I think it's like 36 or something.
My God.
Like I'm like, and we get up there, and he's got the curtains closed. And I was like, and I was like, hey, like, you told me. And he's like trying like, oh, the balcony, like, ha ha ha, like you don't actually. And I was like, no, like the whole reason you told me I was gonna come over here was because like you have a cool view, like let me see the view. And he's like, no, we don't need, like we can just go to my room, like I've got like some alcohol in the fridge. And I was like, no, really, like I'm just gonna go to your balcony. And he was like, no, don't go out there. And he's like starting to get really uncomfortable and like really nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, but literally this is what you talked about like the last hour of our date, you know?
Yeah.
Like does not stop. And I go out, and believe me or not, but there is a full-sized dead cow laying on his like wraparound.
It was a full-on cow.
Well, cow.
And it was dead.
It was dead. It hadn't started to smell yet because in my quick like pull out my phone, start calling an Uber. What the fuck is happening? Him like, I told you not to fucking go out there. Like now this guy's like fucking manic, and he's like, I said don't go out, like I told you. And I was like, yeah, quick question, what the fuck is this? And he was like, I told you not to go out there. And so I got a couple questions answered. He got it in Florence, Arizona, from Craigslist. He bribed the doorman to get it up the apartment.
Okay.
It was for a a pagan, a satanic, I don't know, some type of sacrificial ritual. And I was never supposed to see it. I was just supposed to go to his room. So that makes it better, you know, because I wasn't supposed to see it.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's just going to brag about the view for an hour and then bring you into his room without seeing the view. Yeah.
That should have been like, hey, Sydney, delete your Tinder.
He said, never go on a date again.
Yeah, I was like, hey, Sydney, fucking stop. And then like 2 weeks later, I went on a date and got robbed. That's probably my biggest doozy. Like, that was
Oh, yeah.
I look on it and it's like funny now, but I also look back at it and I'm like, that dude could have killed me.
Oh,
like,
it's a terrifying story.
I mean, it was definitely a satanic ritual, and that's so creepy. Or, like, maybe not satanic, but like...
Like, what would he have done if you went in his room?
Right.
And and I just, like, I was like, I'm calling an Uber, like, I'm gonna go, like, and he was just like, no, you can stay, like, you weren't supposed to see it, like, just continuously repeating that, and I was like, well, I did, I saw it.
Yeah, I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
What else is on the list?
I have one about a celebrity.
Now let's just, for the sake of making it easier to tell, let's call him Bob Smith.
Okay. So I, again, on my move to LA, it should have, getting robbed on a first date should have been my, like, first don't go on online date. Oh, fuck. In California. I didn't listen, and I got to talking to this dude, and I noticed that in all of his photos, he had this, like, really famous guy in it, and I was like, interesting, and I, like, looked it up, and I was like, that's his dad.
Wow.
And again, I have said I am a gold digger. I say that as, like, my boyfriend works a minimum wage job, and it's like, you want to go on a date to the dollar store? Like,
yes, love it.
But I love him. And so he's like, hey, like, do you want to come over to, like, my dad's, like, house in the hills? Like, he's not home. And I'm a big person that's, like, it's gotten to the point where I've done so many stupid things, and I look back on my life, I'm like, it's a good story. Like, I'll be able to tell this story someday, so I'm going to go do it. And I, like, called my friend as I'm, like, driving there, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you my address, like, giving her this is where I'm going. I'll take a picture of their car if I can see their license plate. Like, oh, and by the way, this is Bob Smith's son. Like, how is there a way we can put into context, like, who Bob Smith is without, like...
I was gonna, he had, like, a very famous sitcom.
Yes, in the 90s.
And, yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's
a beloved comedian and actor.
Yeah, good.
And, so we go, and if I post this anywhere, my parents are probably gonna listen to it, so this is really embarrassing, but thanks for the support. But definitely I'm, like, full on just hooking up with this dude, like, yeah. I'm on top, and Bob Smith walks in.
Oh my god.
Bob Smith goes, oh, you have company, and then retreated out of the bedroom.
Which is funny because that sounds like something he'd say on a sitcom. Like, when he goes, oh, you have company, I picture, like, a laugh track. Like, ah. And I remember you going, Bob Smith's son is very aggressive sexually. And I look at Ben, and I'm like, that's a sentence I never thought I'd hear from someone.
And I also, like, and then through, like, my roommate at the time, like, I, like, went back home, and I was like, you'll never believe who I just hooked up with. Like, ran right into her room, and she was like, no way, like, my friend is also hooked up with him and has, like, a funny story, too.
Oh, my God.
Now she's one of my good friends, and we've, like, bonded because we're Eskimo sisters.
Of course.
But, like, she didn't get walked in on, so obviously,
Bob Smith's son fucks.
Bob Smith's son fucks. Bob Smith's son can't commit to anybody, but Bob Smith's son fucks.
He's living his best life.
Like, you want to come to my daddy's mansion?
Yeah, how old was he at this point?
25.
Huh.
I don't know, a couple years older than I was at the time.
Bob Smith just walked into his room?
He doesn't live there. So, like, the guy, like, the kid was there, like, visiting, like,
had
me there, like, have taken me to his house.
Wait a minute, so
they were going to dinner, so, like, was coming to get him to go to dinner.
So he didn't live with his dad, but he brought you to his dad's place to bang you?
Yeah, it was a flex.
What a move.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a serious
That
flex.
completely changes the well, now it's kind of sad. Like, if I show her his house, they'll accept me.
Yeah, so, again, and it was one of those things where I left and I, like, called my friend Ben up right away and I was like, you won't fucking believe it! Like, me with my other college friend, and they were like, Jesus, Sydney! Like, I think that night at Barney's was the first night you had met Ben, too.
Yeah, that's when I met him.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun night.
Barney's, the place where dreams are made of.
Oh,
Obviously.
God. Remember bars?
No.
Remember fun?
Seems so far off.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems so foreign now.
It really does. So that's
So
depressing.
how many items do you have on this list?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've gone through Dead Cow, I've gone through Bob Smith. I flew to Chicago for a dude I had met on Bumble, and then like 3 days, day of, I don't remember, like not even 3 days, like not enough warning to prep myself. Like I was supposed to go out, stay with him. He was like, yeah, I think my parents are like coming to town, and then like also I have a girlfriend, so sorry. And I was like, and I still went because I couldn't do anything, and so I just like hopped around like hotels like every night, like from Hotel Express, and like used sugar daddies to like flounce my way through being in Chicago for a week because I got stood up like
Oh, wow.
while flying to this state.
Wait, so you had never met him?
I had met him once. I had met him when he was in Arizona, and we had like hung out, and I, like, being the naive piece of shit I was like, I love him, like, he's so hot, and so apparently he was worth flying to Chicago for. I don't know.
Wow.
No, he had a girlfriend. God, that's so like, by the way, I have a girlfriend.
Awful.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my
But
god.
it was a great trip to Chicago.
It sounds like
Yeah.
it.
I went and saw Hamilton.
Oh.
Really?
Was it good?
Yeah.
I mean, I
What?
know it's good, but like, what did you think of it?
Oh, I cried. I sobbed.
Yeah.
And I, like, had, like, a single ticket. Like, I went by myself, so I was in between, like, two couples that were there on a date.
Uh-huh.
And, like, two separate couples, and I was just like couldn't breathe, like, the whole show. And, like, they both were just, like... But I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
Damn, nice.
Wow. You really know how to live.
I think we've touched on most of the big ones. I don't know if I ever told you this one, Drew, but I ever tell you about the guy who I think was, like, running from the mob?
What? No.
What?
You're about to.
I'm about to.
Yeah.
So the day after my car got broken into while I was on a date with Grant, I was like chatting with this dude on Tinder, and I had told him what had happened, and he was like, oh my God, like, let me help you, like, let's hang out, like, let's do something. And I was, whatever. And so he, like, we went, and this is a lot of backstory. We hung out a couple times, and then he, like, totally fell off the face of the earth. And, like, when I found all this stuff about him, he, like, had all these really weird stories about how, like, he was running from his dad.
Oh.
And then, like, we hung out a bunch of times. Like, I spent the night at his house. Like, he knew who I was, and then totally ghosted me. And then a couple months later, after I had moved, I had matched with him on Hinge, and I had like different colored hair.
Oh.
And so he like messaged me, totally like acted like he didn't know who I was, like had no, like did not say anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is kind of weird. So I just like went along with it, that like I had no clue who he was. And we like went on a date and like walked around Echo Park, and I acted like I had memory loss. And he never once told me that he had ever met me, or that I had ever spent the night at his house, and like just maintained the story.
That's
Wow.
so weird.
That he had never once met me before, even though I think I had gone out with him a good like 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And I like I skipped, that's a very abridged version. Like in there he had like told me a story about how he had like been robbed in gunpoint at New York, which was like what had led him to like drive cross country and like move to like California.
Oh.
And like
That's drastic. Wow.
Wow. Do you
Oh my
think
God.
he did remember you and was lying, or do you think...
I have no clue how he did it, because we like sat in my car and like smoked a joint, and like that was what we had did on the and I shit, like it was the most scary deja vu moment, because we sat in my car and I was wearing shorts both times, and like both times as I was like, I like played, like I'm a psychopath, so I like played the same song because I like remember really weird details about things. So like I like replicated the exact moment because I was like, there's no fucking way you don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Like you don't. And so I like played, it doesn't matter. It's some really weird like 90s rock band. I don't know. But I played whatever, it'll come to me later. I played this song and like lit a joint and like same fucking thing he said. He was like, wow, that thigh tattoo is really cool. So like I don't know if that was like his reference to like, I know what you're doing and I'm maintaining the same story because I know you're bullshitting me and don't have memory loss. But like
whoa.
It's so weird.
So weird. It was like you were both playing each other, but you didn't know, or you did know, but you didn't want to act like you knew.
Yeah, it's like you did. It's like you both knew, but no one wanted to break character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was probably just two psychos like trying to one up each other.
It sounds like a power thing. Like you're both trying to pull a power move. Like I don't remember you. Oh yeah, well I remember you even less than you remember me. I'm saying the stuff that I said the first time, pretending I don't remember ever saying it.
My dick's bigger than yours. That was the last one on my list, besides my when I saw a micro penis. But
yeah.
Well, wait, explain that one.
Well, this guy just pulled his pants down and told me to suck his dick, and it was a micro penis. What was I supposed to suck?
Oh, wow. Was
his
it
balls?
hard?
No.
And it was just like give us a measurement.
For those of you that can't see the Zoom call, which I'm assuming is probably
everyone,
it's a podcast. If you took your pinky finger and you like bent it, and you like that like middle piece of your bone, that was
knuckle?
how long it was erect.
Oh my god!
So what did you do? Were you just like, I gotta go?
I screamed, "What is that?" I made him sure. He told me that he has not been with a girl since his girlfriend dumped him.
Oh my god.
And so then I rolled over and pretended to fall asleep, and I woke up at 6 a.m, called an Uber, and I left.
Because I remember you told me that story the next day. I think I saw you like got drinks the next day, like you, me, and Ben. And you're like, yeah, I went on a date last night with a guy with a micro penis.
It never ends.
That's amazing though. I love that you pretended to fall asleep. You like
I think
just turned over. Nope. Okay, I'm asleep
now.
Not
to sound mean, but if it's that small, like how does he really use it?
Yeah.
I just like, what was I supposed to suck? Was I just supposed to go?
Yeah.
I don't like. I would have had like, in order to do like any type of, I don't know how vulgar this can get, but like
vulgar as you want.
Yeah.
In order to give any form of jerk off, I probably would have had to have just bent my index finger and moved it up and down, like wiggled it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like probably the same as like navigating the little like joystick on like a video game. Like,
yeah, I'm like a Xbox controller.
That's a fantastic visual.
Yeah.
You need to
like
write that
to
down.
Call of Duty guy walk.
It's like if you wanted to like make your character run back and forth, like
you're steering in Mario Kart.
Oh my god.
if you were playing Rainbow Road on Mario Kart.
Yeah, I gotta be careful.
To give him any sort of action.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah, well, not to be graphic, I feel like when it's that size, like, would it even be able to go in if he had sex? You know what I mean?
I doubt it.
I don't know where it would have gone.
Yeah.
Should have asked him.
And we're back.
And we're back.
I feel so bad. I feel like I've just been like talking, like giving you guys like a lecture on my dating life. Like it's so like.
I mean, that's kind of the thing, you know? You're just telling us all your stories, and I'm so shocked by every single one equally. Like, I can't even rank them in any kind of like, oh, this one was definitely worse. Like, they're just all...
And there's like kind of a lot, like I really hate saying this too, but there's like a lot that like I haven't told some people because I'm just like, I like don't want people to be like, why would you have even put yourself in that situation, you know? Because there's so many things that I've done where
Yeah. What's up, Drew?
Well, I gotta tell you a quick story. So in between Zooms, when I was logging into the new one, so Candace, for the one person listening, is my girlfriend, and we're in a studio apartment, so she was taking a nap, And she was like, I was taking a nap, and when I woke up, all I heard was you saying, when it's that small, could you even put it in? He's like, I clearly missed something.
Yeah. Oh, she's missed a lot.
Yeah, she's missed a good chunk. She's listening now.
45 minutes of my TED Talk about reasons why I shouldn't be alive due to online dating.
Reasons? Well, I'm surprised after those stories that you dated again. I mean, I'm glad you did because you met your current boyfriend, but good for you for not giving up on romance forever.
And it never, I don't think there was, there's a lot of points where I was like, I hate men, like I'm done, I'm deleting my dating apps. But I always went back because I'm so addicted to having like a funny story to tell people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember when I was single, there'd be so many times where I'd have an awful date and be like, I'm done dating, delete my apps, and then like 3 or 4 days later, re-download them again and go on another date and lather, rinse, repeat.
Sydney, how did you meet your current boyfriend? You said his name's Eddie?
Eddie, yeah. So I met Eddie on OkCupid.
Cool.
You guys are both in LA, so I don't know if you remember last summer how like aggressive OkCupid's marketing campaign was. It was I don't know if maybe it was strictly, I was living in Echo Park last summer, and like every other billboard in Echo Park was an OkCupid billboard. Like, I shit you not.
Oh my
God. They had this they were aggressive with their marketing. And I was like, all right, I guess I have to download it. Like, obviously the other ones have not worked.
Right.
And I had something, I was working with puppets at the time. So I had something in my bio about how I worked with puppets, but was scared of puppets. And he replied and he was like, I make puppets. And right away I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. I just said I was scared of puppets. And so I didn't really give him the time of the day. And I was kind of done with OkCupid because the men on there were questionable at best.
Yeah.
I have a follow from him and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. How did he get that? But I followed him back and then he started messaging me and I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's kind of funny. He's nice. And then it really wasn't until I met him in person that I was like, oh wow, I actually I was pretty hesitant to even go on the date. I blew him off the first time. I was like, oh, I'm really tired. And I went on one date with him and then he just never got rid of me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And how long has it been now? A year?
Pretty much. We started talking at this time last year.
Aww.
And then it was right at the beginning of August that we became official.
That's cute.
Oh, nice.
Well, congrats.
So the dating apps do work. I will say, in terms of if I could rank which apps I like the best, I would say OkCupid has the best design in mind.
Okay.
They definitely are thinking about probability of these people working out. So I will say OkCupid, but lowest tier people for sure. Really questionable men talking to me. And then I'd put Hinge, and then probably Tinder, and then Bumble.
Got it. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to disagree with those rankings.
Well, I agree with you. I've never used OkCupid, but in terms of Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, I'd put it in the same ranking.
I think it depends on what you'd be looking for.
Well, yes, that's true. But I guess in the traditional sense of finding someone that you want as your partner, I would put it in that order.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I really wanted Bumble to work more than it did, but people just don't see my humor when I have to send the message first. It just went right over every head, and I was like, not worth my time.
You're I'm too hilarious for Bumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just too funny for every man on there, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tinder definitely has my worst story. I don't have a good story from Tinder. I've had one. There has not been a single thing where I'm like, oh well, at least that was. I also had a guy message me on Tinder once, and he was like, I want to paint you green and spank you like a disobedient avocado.
And that's how you met Eddie.
What?
And that's how I met your mother.
Wait. Paint you green and spank you? That's the most specific fetish I've ever heard.
It's so specific.
Disobedient avocado.
A disobedient avocado. What happened to this guy as a child where that's his fetish?
What is a disobedient avocado?
It's an avocado
so many
that just
questions.
doesn't follow the orders you give it.
He doesn't.
Any avocado?
I don't.
Did you respond to that? Because that's an amazing message.
I don't think I did. I definitely remember tweeting it. I don't remember if I replied, though.
Yeah.
That's a great opener.
I mean, it definitely needs to be on Twitter for the world to see.
Do you think he messaged that to every girl? Like, that was his answer for everybody?
I hope so.
I mean, you can get a line on Candace later and see if it works.
You'll have to update us if it does.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
If I see her on Instagram, green.
Yeah.
Either watching
and I'm behind just, like, giving a thumbs up.
Maybe put her in a banana suit, disobedient banana.
Yeah, I mean, she can hear all of this, so...
Candace, you're an unruly banana.
It's been decided. She said she wishes to be excluded from this narrative.
That's
no
fair.
one's excluded
That's fair.
from it. If I live, I'm like, all my friends are in this, like, in it with me. Like, if I go on this date, you go. I, like, went out and, like, had, like, tried to meet, like, a potential sugar daddy once, and I, like, made my friend, like, come, like, sit at the coffee shop, like, a couple tables away and, like, watch and make sure that, like...
That's how, when I was single and I'd go on a date, Chelsea would get, like, every detail. She was pretty much on the dates, too.
I really was. I really enjoyed it.
I love other people's dating lives.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fascinating.
That's why we did this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great way to, like, be intrusive and, like, really
Really
coming off as, like,
entertainment.
It's like, let me invade all of your personal stories, but in the name of comedy.
Yeah.
I love podcasts.
Do you have any final stories maybe that you want to share?
I have so many. I just don't even... I could literally keep you here all day, but I think those are probably, like...
Those are the highlights.
I would say those are the most, like, what the fuck. Like, I've definitely been on a lot where it's just, like, the guy's really, like... You know, like, I've just been on bad dates, but... Ask me again in, like, 5 years once, like, I really don't need my parents', like, support for anything, and they can't, like, ask me when I turn 26 and I'm off my dad's insurance, so they can't be like, why the fuck did you put yourself, like, why did you go there?
I just love that this was the censored one. Like, this was the watered-down stories.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll get to the really bad ones in a few years.
Put that into perspective.
Yikes.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Like I said earlier, I love to talk about myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your quarantine as much as any of us can.
As weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me. I hope you guys
talk to you soon.
Oh,
I'll see you at the Oaks eventually.
Yeah,
eventually,
hopefully.
yes. Absolutely.
What we're all waiting for.
Okay. Thank
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.